what is the biggest thing that's keeping you stuck? Why do you feel discontent despite achieving what you thought you needed? Something's missing. You've tried other solutions, but nothing has truly fixed your problem, up until now. Download the 3 reasons you're feeling discontent and how to fix it fast at www.jedbrotherson.com and quickly create a clear roadmap that helps you find peace, clarity, and fulfillment. Welcome to the Pulverizing the Patterns podcast, where Jed Brotherson takes you on a journey to confront the roots of your discontent and emerge significant. Each week, we dive deep into themes like overcoming harmful family dynamics, standing up for yourself with courage, speaking out against injustice, and cultivating healthy, authentic relationships. Be sure you visit our website at www.pulverizingthepatterns.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, get ready for empowering stories, expert insights, and actionable strategies that help you break free from negative patterns and create a life rooted in self-respect, clarity, and connection.
Welcome back to Pulverizing the Patterns, the show where we don't just talk about change, we embody it. Today I'm joined by someone who's taken his fair share of hard knocks, turned them into data points, and used them to build a life rooted in fulfillment, service, and conscious success. At age 2, Alan lost his father in a tragic car accident. At age 26, he found himself in a nearly fatal car crash of his own. But instead of spiraling, he pivoted, leaving a successful career in corporate America to become the CEO of a global top 100 podcast, Next Level University, with over 2,000 episodes and listeners in 170 countries. Alan's proof that when you align with your purpose, the universe responds. Alan, welcome to the show. So glad to have you here.
Jed, thank you for having me. Thank you for that intro. And for anyone watching or listening, the 21st century is very noisy, and I will not waste a moment of anyone's time. I do not take it lightly to be here. At one point, I used to listen to podcasts 10 years ago after that car accident that you mentioned, and they really helped me sort of reconstruct my future. And now I'm a podcaster, and I'm speaking into the lives of other people, so it's an honor, and I do not ever want to take that for granted.
Thank you. Let's go back to those early defining moments. You lost your father at age 2, then decades later had your own brush with mortality. What did those experiences awaken in you? Were there hidden patterns you started to notice in how you were living?
Well, so when my birth father passed away when I was 2.5, this was 1991, I was too young to know how that shaped me. But in hindsight, rewatching the movie of my own life, particularly in my 30s, so I got a therapist in my 30s, and I started really diving deep into rewatching the movie of my own life. It's like a movie when you see as a kid and then you watch it again as an adult and you go, got it. Okay, now I get it. I understand that joke. And so that's what I hope everyone does as adult, is they go back and sort of do that. I did a lot of that in my 30s, and I'm still doing that. I'm only 36, even though I look 15. So in hindsight, this is clear. I was 2.5, sister was 6, mom was 31, stay-at-home mom. Birth father passes away in a car when he's 28. He was the primary breadwinner. I had a stepfather from age 3 to 14. His name was Steve Lazaros. So my real birth last name is Alan McCorkle. John McCorkle was my dad. Jim, Joe, John, Jane, Joan, Jeanette. 6 kids, all with the beginning J, big Irish Catholic family. And my stepfather left when I was 14 and took his entire extended family with him, also took 90%, 95% of the income. So we went from sort of boats and ski trips in the 90s when things were really booming, dot-com bubble stuff, born and raised in Massachusetts, to now I get free lunch at school because our income is so low and I don't know how I'm going to go to college, because the college I want to go to, WPI, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, it's kind of like a mini MIT in Massachusetts. And I wanted to be a computer engineer, but it was $50,000 a year, and this is back then. Mm-hmm. So in hindsight, the early experiences shaped me in the sense of, number one, and this has been a surprising W, I was raised by 2 women. So my business partner, Kevin, he and I co-founded Next Level University, 2,000 plus episodes, the podcast that you mentioned in the intro. And he also grew up with his father. So he didn't meet his father till he was 27 years old. He was raised by his mom and his Mima. And I was raised, which is his grandma. I was raised by my older sister and my mom. And surprisingly, in our 30s, we've come to realize that that's actually been an interesting strength. I playfully was joking with him the other day. I said, dude, I'm so disappointed in us. And I was joking, but I said, we didn't have fathers to be disappointed in us. We're disappointed in ourselves. I was obviously being playful. I'm not actually disappointed in us, but I am kind of, because we've been failing forward a lot lately. We're overwhelmed. But the early days really shaped me in a couple ways. Number one, growing up without a dad to prove myself to. And I didn't really like my stepdad much, so I wasn't really trying to prove myself to him, at least not consciously, made me different for sure. And the second piece was when my stepdad left, it was no generational wealth. I look into the future, no generational wealth, no trust fund, no dad. We're in trouble. He got the yacht and the apartment building. We got the house and the dog. And fortunately, I was born and raised in Massachusetts, and I got straight A's through all of high school. And I got all the scholarships and financial aid that I could, equal opportunity, no child left behind type of stuff. So I got financial aid. I was able to go. And I got my computer engineering degree, master's in business, rose in corporate. So I did the traditional path. I did preschool, kindergarten, middle school, high school, college, corporate. And I crushed it. And so in hindsight, when my stepdad left, any sort of entitlement or spoiled brat syndrome that I might have had because we had a lot of money was just ripped out from under me, which at the time really sucked because I went from boats and ski trips and Xbox and Christmas presents to I get free lunch at school now because our income is so low. I'm shopping at Salvation Army. My mom trades in her BMW for a little Honda Civic. Like, how are we going to keep the house in the family type of stuff? Man of the house at 14, so to speak. Sister moved out that same year. And so that's the best sort of hindsight synopsis I can give is if I was going to have any level of entitlement, that rug got ripped out from under me real quick. And so there's that saying of stay humble or get humbled. And I don't think that I have a belief that life is supposed to be good. I think I grew up, there's two buckets. I'll be brief about this, but I've coached a lot of people now at this point, 20 right now, individuals all over the world, all different cultures, all different backgrounds. And there's these beliefs, these paradigms that we have unconsciously, subconsciously. I think some people believe life is supposed to be good. And when it's not, they think something's wrong with the world or wrong with them, usually wrong with the world. That's the victim. I don't have that. I think life is supposed to be atrociously bad. And when it's not, I'm actually pumped. So adversity became my advantage because I had high self-belief and high self-efficacy, which is a whole nother conversation, because adversity does not become most people's advantage, unfortunately.
Right. That's what a powerful way to turn that into a superpower.
Didn't do it consciously. It's only in hindsight that I realized I did. Yeah. Because at the time I had no idea that my trauma response was aim higher, work harder, and get smarter.
Yeah. Could you tell us the moment when that external success that you were following, as you said, you did the traditional route, kindergarten 1 through 12, and crushing it. I watched an interview. I don't recall his last name, but it was a Kevin, and you're talking about getting, was it the President's Award?
Yeah.
You did crush it. You were performing at a high level.
Yes. And so it's behind me. It's signed by George W. Bush right here. There's a letter. And it's the Academic Excellence Award. So when my stepdad left at 14, I was a freshman in high school. I was going into my freshman year. My sister was a senior. And I was this prepubescent just loser. I mean, you think I look young now. Imagine me at 14, right? I mean, every girl overlooked me. All the guys were hitting puberty and I wasn't. So, and then at home, things were really not good, but no one really knew that because from the outside looking in, we looked like the rich kids. When from the inside out, my mom and stepdad did not get along. And that's a very polite way to put it on a public medium. Yeah. And so the ACE score, adverse childhood experiences, was very, very high. Unfortunately, and fortunately in a weird way. But so the whole traditional path thing, got the President's Award, straight A's in high school, scholarships and financial aid, the obnoxious kid at the award ceremony that never sat down. Yeah. And I want to make this as clear as possible too, because I think it's important. I call it STEMBIF, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, business, and finance always came very easy to me. For me, it was the inner stuff that wasn't natural. And so math and science guy, physics award, computer engineer, master's in business, and computer engineer with a master's in business from one of the best tech schools in the world, tech colleges, very sought after in the 21st century. So I graduate computer engineering in 2012, master's in business in 2013, and the economy is coming back after 08.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tech company after tech company, iRobot, Sensata Technologies, Oz Development, Lens Americas, a company called Cognex. I did inside sales engineering, then outside sales engineering. I managed Vermont, Connecticut, and Western Massachusetts, big companies, GE, Frito-Lay. We sold industrial automation equipment into big manufacturing facilities all across the world. They do machine vision. So it's like the eyes of robotics in automation.
Yeah.
And so we did very well. I mean, you can't, I don't want to say you can't do poorly in that industry because obviously there's competition and stuff, but I did very well. And I was used to being broke in high school and college when my stepdad left. So I had a $500 per month, split it with my girlfriend, rent. We lived on a lake. I drove a 2004 Volkswagen Passat. Low expenses was my superpower. So I was making ridiculous money. I went from 65 a year to 85, 85 to 105, 105 to 125. And I peaked at 180 in corporate when I was in my early 20s.
Great.
And I paid off 84 grand worth of college debt in a single year in 2014. That was my goal, to get out of debt. And then I put the rest in Vanguard because I didn't need much. That's been a really interesting superpower too, because when my stepdad left, he took most of the toys and everything. So materials things just didn't do it for me. Yeah. And we didn't even have cable after that, right? So I learned how to need very little, but yet I still was this kind of achiever, semi-smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I got in my car accident. And that's when I realized, so there's these 4 buckets in life that I've stumbled across. And I didn't realize this till my 30s. But everybody goes through them, just not in the same order. So the first bucket is when you are unsuccessful and unfulfilled. So when I was 14, 15, 16, when I was 16, I got my license. I was a cart kid and a busboy at a golf course called Crystal Lake Golf Course in Rhode Island. I made minimum wage. I was not treated super well. I wasn't very good at what I did. I was not fulfilled and not successful. Then graduate college, corporate, raised through the corporate ladder. I become externally successful, but internally unfulfilled still. Drinking too much and too often. I brought my high school friends to college friends to corporate. They had a referral program at Cognex. I actually brought, I think, 5 people there with big bonuses because the headhunters didn't need to get paid. And I'm talking big bonuses. They had it was wild. But anyways, so my point of that is the second bucket, I was externally fulfilled and externally successful, but internally unfulfilled. Drinking too much and too often, not taking care of my health. I call it taking care of the asset. Then I got in my car accident at 26. And this was the second chance my dad never got. My dad died in a car when he was 28. So I got in a head-on collision, my fault. Fortunately, no one was killed. No one was permanently injured, but this was not a fender bender. This was a head-on collision. I crossed the double yellows, lift-kitted pickup truck, completely totaled. And fortunately, no one was killed or permanently injured. But for me, this was my quarter-life sort of existential crisis. That's when I flipped the script. That's when I found personal development, self-improvement, personal growth, mental health, trauma, all this stuff 10 years ago. And I flipped the script hard. I went from externally successful and internally unfulfilled. I went all in on personal growth, personal development, self-improvement. I did fitness modeling, fitness competitor, fitness coach, 43 photo shoots, fitness competitions. I've got the sort of trophies behind me. And I just took really good care of me physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually after that. I started my own company, Alan Lazaros LLC, what you'll never learn in school, but desperately need to know. I wanted to bring personal development to the school systems. That was nearly impossible, it turns out. And good luck getting speeches at high schools and colleges with that tagline, right? But anyways, that was 10 years ago. And I became internally fulfilled, but externally I was unsuccessful. I liquidated all my assets. I went past broke. And now, Next Level University, Kevin and I, 8 years in, we have reached the place that everyone wants to reach. And we're certainly not done. I do not pretend to be on some mountaintop. I'm only 36, right? But what I will say is it took me till my 30s to get to the fourth bucket. And the fourth bucket is when you are externally successful in the economy and internally fulfilled. And that's the hardest statistical place to get to on planet Earth. That is what everyone wants. Everyone wants to be healthy, wealthy, and in love. And so few people are. And I know why. If you're top 1% in health, top 1% in wealth, and top 1% in love, that means you're 1 in a million mathematically. 1 over 100 times 1 over 100 times 1 over 100. That means you're 1 in a million. It's 3 full-time jobs.
Wow.
And if you don't think fitness is a full-time job, look in the mirror. You're not in that great a shape. Fitness is a full-time job, and that's only 1/3 of the equation. So what I eventually got to was external success and internal fulfillment. And you know you're in the fourth bucket when you can look yourself in the mirror and authentically say by yourself, I want my future to be an amplified version of what it already is. And the reason most people are not successful and internally fulfilled is because what the economy pays the most for is very rarely the most meaningful work. Sometimes it is, but very rarely.
Right. Beautiful insights. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It causing me to reflect on a lot of things right there. It's before I go to this next question, I'm just going to share one of my past careers. After 2008, I was in construction trades up to 2008, and then
things collapsed.
Because of that, I kind of went back to school. Not kind of. I did go back to school to be a nurse. And after 2013, that's what I was doing.
Nice.
Up through when we had the pandemic.
Very nice.
There was a point right there approaching that time period of the pandemic. I was hitting almost 300 pounds. So today the scale's about 185. If you could, I just love how you were able to recognize I need to get in and take care of myself physically and spiritually. Man, you said so many beautiful things right there about how we need to become aware of what we're doing there. Could you help us understand that just a little bit more about how rounding that out, it just helps us have that more fulfillment that you're talking about?
Yeah, the fulfillment piece. When you think of fulfillment, you think of a whole person.
Yeah.
When you think of fulfillment, you think of holistic, you think of wholesome. When someone's a wholesome person, it means they are virtuous. It means they aren't belligerent drunks and they aren't, overeating and all this kind of stuff. And I tried really hard after my car accident at 26, sort of the second chance my dad never got. I tried really hard to reach my own unique potential and be the most wholesome man that I can be. And that meant healthy, wealthy, and in love, not just for myself, but also for others. And the health piece, I think, is the foundation. So if you were to make a pyramid, and the thing that I love about pyramids, and I'm an engineer, so everything's shapes and metrics and habits and numbers, everything is numbers. So a pyramid, I always say 1 is too few, 3 is too many, 5 is too many. 3 is my favorite number. So if you look at a pyramid, my favorite part about a pyramid is that the foundation has to get wider in order for it to grow taller geometrically. And the foundation is health, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. And I just had neglected it. So health is the bottom of the pyramid. And then next is wealth, which is, I think, broken into 3 categories. How you make your money. In other words, is it meaningful work? Number 2 is how much do you make? And is that increasing or decreasing where the future's headed?
Yeah.
And obviously you don't sell horses when the car gets invented. It's a metaphor. Some people get mad at me when I say that. It's like, I love horses. No, I know. It's a metaphor. And then the third one is where you invest it. Most people, they don't know the fundamentals of finance. They don't understand investing. They have a consumer mindset, not an investor mindset. And math always made sense to me. So I always felt like I had an investor mindset, except for with my health. And the third one is love. And love is your intimate relationship, your immediate family, your extended family, your mentors, mentees, clients, customers, community, business partner, in my case, best friends, family, all that stuff. And to me, that's what everyone wants. I have been trying to decode ever since I was a little kid. I've been very Sherlock Holmes, Spock-esque kind of kid. And I grew up in an environment that I playfully refer to as the Boulevard of Broken Dreams. Small town, small-minded town, and half these couples didn't even like each other, never mind love each other, right? So marriage scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And people, when I was 14, they would literally say, these are the best years of your life. High school is the best years of your life. And I remember thinking, God, I fucking hope not. Because this is atrocious. This is terrible, right? And by the way, high school is not the best years of your life. I'm 36. High school sucked. Right? Are you kidding me? I was a loser. But if you play the long game, and those people that were telling me that obviously got worse, not better, right? So maybe they were, football stars or whatever in high school and things have trended down. But they also aren't working on themselves. And so the health, wealth, and love thing, that's what everyone wants. I don't care what culture you're from, what background, you want to be healthier, wealthier, and more in love. You want to be healthier, wealthier, and more in love. And there's a science to those. And I can break it down. Health is sleep, hydration, nutrition, training, mobility, breathwork, and supplementation. Period. That's it. That's a pyramid too. And then wealth there's 8 fundamentals of finance. Once you learn them and master them, you get the result. And then love, there's fundamentals too. I have a podcast called the Conscious Couples Podcast. And Emilia, my girlfriend and future wife, we did this together to help relationships reach their potential in their intimate relationship. We call it the We is the name of the business, but Conscious Couples is the community we've built. And we've been coaching couples for 4.5 years. There are fundamentals: courage, humility, vulnerability. If you don't have those, your relationship is absolutely doomed. And there's just fundamentals that we never learned in school that you have to master if you want results. If you don't want results, you don't have to do anything.
Well said. Yeah. If you don't want to move, then just stay doing the same actions, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then complain about it, right? So.
And then complain about it.
Even though all these resources are available for free.
Right. As you look back, can you identify anything where you think you might have been chasing happiness disguised as success, like earlier before the car accident?
For sure.
What were you able to identify with that?
Yeah. So if you've ever read
happiness, did you think that success would buy?
I definitely fell for the American boy. So warm-blooded American male, right? Born and raised in Massachusetts. I mean, I totally fell for instead of health, wealth, and love from the inside out, it was kind of like hottest girl. Yeah. Best body, that kind of stuff. And I think there's some merit to that too, right? I mean, but when you're young in high school and you're a loser, you want status. You want to be seen. You want to be significant. Young men want significance so desperately. So for you're the anomaly willing to be a male nurse. That's a statistical, not normal thing. So you obviously have a different relationship with your male ego than most men, because most men would not be willing to go into that profession. That already tells me a lot about you. It tells me you have actual humility, inward humility, not the fake outward stuff. Yeah. And so, and again, I don't know you, but I think you can draw a lot of conclusions based on stuff when you study people as long as I have. Mm-hmm. So what's my point of all that? Your original question was, what was I chasing? And happiness and pleasure and that kind of thing back in the day.
Yeah, falling into that typical old.
I fell into that for sure. The external success, the being the best. Yeah. And I think mastery is a virtue. Wanting to be the best for your ego is not. Being better than you used to be is everything. I mean, wanting to be better is a wonderful thing. The whole world would be a better place if everyone wanted to be better. That's actually what I'm trying to preach, for lack of better phrasing.
Yeah.
But some of it would be ego. I would be a sore loser, video games, that kind of thing. It's like, I wasn't trying and all that nonsense. So I definitely had the overcorrect from a deep insecure young man, tall, lanky thing, prepubescent before that, right? Mm-hmm. And as you mature emotionally and you start to achieve these things, you start to realize it was always deeper than that. And you kind of get the mud out of your glass and you start to heal from your past and you start to realize that the people you grew up with maybe weren't the best role models, and you kind of become your own hero in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a therapy session with my therapist, Carol, and she asked me to go back into little Alan and look at me now, and what does little Alan say? And it's so obvious when you're in that meditation. Holy crap, I have totally become like what I needed as a kid. And that's awesome. I mean, that's really cool. And here's the paradox. Would I have if I didn't go through? Because I think if I had had a male role model, because in hindsight, I am wildly disappointed. I mean, the people that I grew up with, and some of them are really good, down-to-earth people, but quite frankly, I am disappointed, if I'm being honest. I just am. There wasn't big dreams, aspirations, be better. Personal development was non-existent. I mean, and so to answer your question in a more tangible way, there's a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey.
Yeah.
In that book, he identifies something called a paradigm, which is just a fancy word for a deep belief about life.
Yeah.
We're all born into a certain paradigm. If you're born in China, you speak Chinese, depending on the dialect. And if you're born in Massachusetts, you speak English, most likely. This is what is downloaded into our hard drive when we're a kid. So I grew up in a certain paradigm, and the paradigm I grew up in, my mom and stepdad, they weren't aware of this, but it was all about have as much fun as possible. It was about friends and fun. I mean, that was their paradigm. And so we had a blast. I mean, snowmobiles and alcohol and parties. But here's the problem. It looks really fun on the surface, but on the back end, there's fighting and there's trauma and there's bad choices and irrationality and lack of career development and all that stuff. So I grew up in this paradigm. So my paradigm was achievement first, friends second, fun third. So what happened? Before 26, before my wake-up call, before 26, my paradigm shift, I had a ton of friends, I had a ton of fun, and I achieved a lot. I ended up at a company called Cognex. Their motto is work hard, play hard. I used to say work hard, play harder.
Yeah.
And then at 26, I quit that job. I started my own company. And I changed my paradigm. So to answer your question is, I had an unconscious paradigm of achievement, friends, and fun. And the show Friends is built on the paradigm of friends. Notice how they're never working? On that show, they never work. They never do anything productive. That's a friend-centered, fun paradigm. And a lot of people have that. And I transformed achievement, friends, and fun into a paradigm of growth, contribution, and impact. And really holistic personal development. And that was 10 years ago. And so now I'm 10 years into, I quit drinking. I quit all drugs. There's no, I always say my last remaining vice is caffeine.
Yeah.
And no one's taking it away.
Alan, one thing that really stands out about your work is your deep commitment to tracking data and using the systems thinking to stay aligned with your goals. This was another thing I pulled out of that interview that you did with Kevin. I've got to admit that this is an area that I'm still learning to master myself. In my previous circles, no one really talked about tracking data, this personal development. I mean, if we talked about it, it was just an idea. It is more about gut feelings and mindset shifts. But in my current paradigm, I'm realizing that life demands more tools, more structure, especially these simple, easy to apply tools. Like I just love the systems thinking square, how you just use these 4 buckets. Like I like how you've broken it down into these simple, easy to digest for the listeners' ideas.
Thank you.
Let's see. I was in that episode, Your Growth Isn't Just About You. Could you tell us more about that?
The metrics.
Yeah.
I feel super seen. I appreciate it. Yeah, good.
No, that's it. Just you named it. I was thinking of the square. I couldn't remember the first name. But yeah, if you could go into that a little bit for us.
The square, are you referring to systems thinking?
Systems thinking square, yeah.
Systems thinking. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So systems thinking is inputs, outputs, measure, and adjust.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so picture a box. On the upper left of the box is inputs.
Uh-huh.
Those are your behaviors. Those are your habits. Those are what you say, think, do, feel, and believe. Mm-hmm. And then the outputs are the results you get. So I think everything in life is a science experiment. So I come on this podcast, my inputs, I'm saying certain things, and I'm seeing if they land and if they don't. So I'm getting an output. An output is your response. If I'm getting a positive response and it feels like we're connecting authentically, great. Measure, observe, and then adjust. Okay, he didn't really like when I went there. He probably thinks that. Okay, let's. Now, again, you don't want to change who you are,
right?
But you gotta also understand that it's a craft. Effective communication is a craft. Storytelling, compelling visuals, all this stuff. Okay, so that's systems thinking. And to me, health, wealth, and love is a byproduct of identity and great process. And it's prep, rep, reflect, perfect. It's prepare for the interview, which I did. Do the interview, which is the rep. It's a fitness term. Do the reps.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, review it, reflect, and then perfect means you improve.
Yeah.
And prep, rep, reflect, perfect. Perfect rhymes, so I kept it. But I don't believe in perfectionism. It's trying to make things as perfect as they can be, knowing they'll never be perfect. That's sort of the Six Sigma thinking. But I feel very seen. I really appreciate it. You mentioned metrics. You obviously did your homework on me, which is just very flattering. I really appreciate it. And the metrics piece, everything's numbers to me. I often tell my clients this. I coach 20 individuals from all over the world right now. One of them is 4 times a week. 2 of them are 3 times a week. The rest of them are bi-weekly, weekly, or a couple monthly. I don't do monthly anymore because it feels like just half the call is just catch me up. But anyways, I tell my clients, I will be the only person in your corner who cares about your success more than you do.
Yeah.
And I always say that success first, fulfillment second, feelings third. Because I do not agree that the reason people, so if you look up the research, most people do not achieve their goals. Straight up. I've researched this. You can chat GPT this, Google this. Like a very small percentage of people have clear written goals that they achieve. An alarmingly small percent. It's 3%. Okay. And it, depending on the study, 6%, but it's always below 10. So less than 10% of us ever achieve our goals and dreams.
Yeah.
What is that about, right? Especially for me, because I feel like I always have had clear written goals that I eventually achieve. Now, I know that sounds cocky, but at the end of the day, I realize I'm conscientious and I'm an engineering mind. So everything's reverse engineered. Everything's metrics and habits, priorities, skills, all the stuff. So to make this practical instead of some esoteric craziness, I believe the reason most people do not achieve their dreams is because they have inaccurate thinking. Mm-hmm. I use the metaphor of a self-driving car. I have a Tesla. It has a self-driving feature. Supervise. I have to supervise it. But I'm telling you, we did a road trip. We went from Massachusetts to South Carolina, and I only had to stop this thing like 5 times. Bird or whatever. So it's unbelievable, the technology. And eventually all cars will be self-driving. Don't hate me. It is what it is, okay? It's progress. And also walking, talking robots in every home. Like all that's going to happen. I worked for a company called iRobot. Robotics is coming, whether you like it or not. Get on board. And also be careful. All right. So AI, all that. But the point that I'm making here is a self-driving car needs 3 things. It needs a destination location, a goal, accurate destination location. It needs an accurate current location, self-awareness. And it needs updated data on the terrain. We all remember Garmin back in the day when the terrain wouldn't update and we would have, okay, there's a new road and we're driving off a cliff on accident and then blaming the world. I think most people don't understand themselves, don't understand others, and don't understand the world. So they're like a self-driving car that thinks it's a submarine. Or they're a submarine that they think is a plane. So they fly off a cliff and then blame the world, when in reality, they just think irrationally. They think inaccurately. I know some people that are gorgeous that think they're ugly. I know some people that are ugly that think they're gorgeous. It's all distortion. We talked about this in the pre-call. Distortion, cognitive distortion, cognitive biases. The inability to think accurately is an engineer's greatest struggle, and that's why no one likes us.
Well, your engineer mind framework really, I think, helps you pay attention to the detail on the front end and get that. I mean, in all points of attraction, law of attraction, everything, we can't get what we want unless we're super specific. And everything you're talking about is increasing that front part. So it helps. I mean, it helps you line up with the laws of the universe by default if you're just being very specific.
Beautiful.
I love it. How would you, or could you give us an example of a way that somebody listening today could start tracking their own growth or how they might be misaligned in their path, in their current path?
This is so good. So all of my clients are in the same system. We call it dreamlining. We actually have a journal called Next Level Dreamliner. Whoop, just hammered the pen across the table here. I'm not selling something on your show, by the way. I just wanted to, it's called dreamlining. Reverse engineer your goals and dreams.
Yeah.
And it's a process that I take everybody through, and it's your dream statement, which is 10 plus years. So mine is to build the most positively impactful personal development company in history. It's a pie in the sky, true North Star, just guides my decision making.
Yeah.
And that's going to take me a lot more than 10 years, but you understand. Although maybe not, because there's not that many personal development companies. Okay. Yeah. I know why, because it's not profitable. I'm kidding. It's like, I always joke. I say, you guys are trying to do this for your friends and family for free. I'm trying to sell the stuff. Fitness you can sell, business you can sell, personal development you just cannot. It's brutal. Even though personal development is what actually everyone needs. So anyways, dream statement, 10 plus years. After that, it's goals, quarterly. Achieve your dreams 90 days at a time. It's Q2. We have 20 days left in Q2. So January, February, March, Q1, April, May, June, Q2. Every one of my clients has a dream statement, top 3 quarterly goals, top 3 priorities. Now, these are the plants that you intentionally water. I have coaching, training, and podcasting. Those are the 3 that I put intentionality in. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's my main focus. That's why I'm here right now.
Yeah.
Podcasting. Okay, so dream statement, top 3 quarterly goals, top 3 quarterly priorities, metrics and habits. This is your question. A metric is like your weight or cash on hand in your bank account or gross income or gross revenue if you're a business owner. A metric is something you track and measure. A habit is something you do or don't do. So we all do a system of success. I call it peak performance tracking, PPT, and everyone tracks metrics and habits. So an example of a metric would be your weight. An example of a habit would be weight training or consistent daily exercise. Okay. Then there's tasks. Tasks, the difference in a habit and a task, I always say putting rice in the rice cooker every morning so you can have rice at night, that's a habit. Buying a new rice cooker is a task.
Yeah.
And then you have skills. So every one of my clients tracks metrics, habits, and they have one most important skill. Now, this is where the uniqueness comes in. So my most important skill is social courage because I'm a big time social coward. I used to be a chameleon, appease, don't lose anyone, abandonment issues, all that kind of stuff. But one of my other clients, her most important skill is keep it rational. She's just very emotional. She makes emotional choices. She shops, this whole thing. It's like, listen, you need to make rational decisions. You need to calculate probabilities. You need to think more like a poker player. So that wouldn't be mine. I already do that. That's natural for me.
Yes.
The biggest problem with people not achieving their goals is there's an actual science to it. And we're all missing a part of the equation. Not all of it. Most people have most of the equation, but they're missing a huge chunk. So for her, she's missing rationality. She's missing the ability to make effective long-term choices. That doesn't come natural. That wasn't what I was missing. I was missing the social cowardice. I was so afraid to be abandoned because success always came easy and relationships never did. So I was playing not to lose. Everyone's playing not to lose, but they're not playing not to lose the same thing. The majority of the statistical population is playing not to lose perception. They're playing not to lose status. They're playing not to be seen as a failure, which guarantees what? They end up a failure.
Yeah.
And I was playing not to lose relationships. And guess what? If I want to shine and I want to grow and I want to be my best self and I want to change the world, guess who's going to have to leave people behind? Either that or I'm going to drag them up Mount Everest they don't want to climb. Tried that. Doesn't work. So at the end of the day, everyone's playing not to lose. It's just they're not playing not to lose the same thing. And it's all based on fear and trauma from our past. Some people think they're not good enough. They're afraid to be seen as a failure. So they constantly never try and never go outside their comfort zone out of fear of being looked at as a loser. I don't have that. So I constantly look like a loser. But I actually am more afraid of success. Because when I shine and outshine others, it makes other people feel bad. And the tallest tree gets chopped down the most. And that's what was happening to me. So we're all afraid of success, failure, judgment, It just depends which one. And until you identify that and then attack it, you're kind of screwed.
That's beautiful. So you're running a company, producing a top podcast, supporting others, all while holding firmly to the belief that staying true to your core values is non-negotiable. How do you maintain that alignment when you've mentioned how maybe overwhelmed, might be approaching some overwhelm? How do you maintain that alignment when life gets overwhelming or noisy?
Essentialism is a book behind me by Greg McKeown. Have you ever heard of Essentialism?
I haven't.
Okay, it's a book by Gregory McKeown. It's called Essentialism, and I identify as an essentialist. So every single time I'm overwhelmed, which is definitely happening, by the way, I feel very grateful. I'm in demand. During times of demand and overwhelm, I always remember when it was crickets. I remember when no one cared. No one wanted to interview me. No one wanted to coach with me. I always go back to that. So I'm very grateful. It's a privileged problem, but it is a problem because I'm overwhelmed and I can't sustain this. So I have something called the 3D plan. I do this with all my business clients. Number one is delete. You have to delete persons, places, things, and ideas. You have to. Go for the things that are not a core value or not profitable. Particularly in business, speaking to the business owners out there, you got to delete the stuff that's not profitable. If it's not at least indirectly profitable, you got to can it. It is what it is. So number one is delete. Number two is delegate. This is the hard part. Leadership is brutal. Leadership's tough. I have an 18-person team. What are the chances someone's messing something up right now? Right? I'm the CEO. So you spend your life frustrated. It's not easy. And you got to be kind and respectful, but you also got to hold standards, right? Yeah. So delegate is number two. Delegate is challenging. I have someone, Kenna, she's an absolute sweetheart. She's fairly new. She screwed up and put one of our meetups in 2026. People had already registered, and then she took ownership in the WhatsApp group and said, hey, I'm so sorry, everybody who already registered. I accidentally put it in 2026. Everyone has to re-register. And I'm just sitting there going, right? But it is what it is. We fail forward.
Yeah.
Okay. And then number three is double down. So every time I'm overwhelmed, I delete persons, places, things, and ideas. I delegate whatever still needs to get done. And I double down on coaching, training, podcasting. Podcasting is one to scale. Training is one to several. And coaching is one to one. And coaching is what I'm optimizing for. And all of that is based on mathematics and productivity and exponential growth and scale, 21st century, 6 billion people on the internet, 5.65 last I checked. I think it's probably upwards of 6 now. Starlink and all that going on. You can build a business online and you can do it and you can scale it. It's really amazing what's possible in the 21st century. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
But most people, that sounds pretentious. Yeah, most people don't know how to do it. And I always say this, how can you scale a business exponentially if you think linearly?
Right.
And most people who grew up saying, I hate math, they don't think in exponentials, so they don't understand what's possible. Because things grow exponentially. Bacteria grows exponentially. COVID grew exponentially. Businesses grow exponentially. Very few things in the universe grow linearly. And if you think linearly, you most likely aren't capitalizing on what's truly possible.
I love that. Alan, you built Next Level University into a global movement. What's the legacy that you're building, not just for your audience, but for the man in the mirror?
The man in the mirror I have right up here. Man in the Glass. Up behind me. That poem, The Man in the Glass. Have you ever read that poem?
I don't know if I have.
Okay, you're going to adore it. And by the way, for the ladies out there, it's mankind, not just man. Mankind, right? Man and woman. Woman in the Glass. It's by Dale Wimbrow, I'm sorry. Dale. Favorite poem of all time, and it's about exactly that. So my father passed away when he was 28, and he had a big impact in a very short amount of time. And when I almost passed away in that car accident, I very easily could have if I wasn't in a very safe Volkswagen. I probably wouldn't be here. And both airbags deployed, and I was okay. But I remember thinking a lot about my legacy. And it is written over here: to reach my own unique potential. Unique is underlined. And to help others do the same. Everything else is secondary. 0.1% improvement every day for 50 years equates to 84 million times better. And that's the math. You can put $1 in a financial calculator and you can grow it by 0.1%. That's 1/10 of 1%. That's 1/10 of a penny percentage. And in the first year, you only get $1.44. In the first decade, it's not that much. I think it's 38 times. But when you do it 50 years, you have $84 million starting with $1. 0.1%. It's 0.1% better per day. So that's the legacy that I hope to lead is I believe in human potential maybe more than anyone on this planet. And I want to lead by example because, quite frankly, I am so disappointed in how few male role models led by example.
Yeah, that changes, or that's inspirational. Has that meaning changed from when you first started Next Level University? Like when you had 200 episodes versus 2,000 episodes today?
I would say my frame and the way I articulate it has changed, but at the end of the day, when I found personal development 10 years ago, I knew some people have a job, some people have a career, some people have a calling. That's a Jeff Bezos quote. And I didn't find my calling. I had a job at 14, car kid, busboy, golf course. I had a career in corporate. And at 26, I found my calling. And it's personal development. It used to be self-improvement, personal development, personal growth, but it's always been that. And to me, that was the one thing that I had zero of growing up. There was no like personal development books. There was no personal development talk. There was no let's work on ourselves growing up. And if there was, I would have noticed because I was ready. I love learning and I love growing and I love understanding. And for me, I understood others and I understood the world. I understood psychology and physiology and the economy and business and micro and macroeconomics, but I didn't understand myself. And some people are the opposite. They understand themselves 6 ways to Tuesday, but they don't know how the economy works. And it's like, listen, you can't be successful if you don't understand the economy and finance and how this stuff works. Science, technology, engineering, mathematics, business, and finance are important. So all of us think we're right, which is why all of us are wrong. We need to be more wholesome. We need to be more holistic. And I would see these mentors. It's like you're a multimillionaire, but you take better care of your Porsche than your own family. And then I see these other people that are wholehearted and wonderful humans, but they're broke as a joke because they never learned finance. And they were always consumers and never investors. So I was like, you know what? No. Health, wealth, and love. We're going to master this thing and we're going to master life and lead by example because who you are and what you are when no one's watching is always going to be the most important because when your head hits the pillow, you're going to be either proud of yourself or not deep down. You're either going to be ashamed of how you lived your life. We've all been there. I've been there. Or hungover, right? Ashamed, or you're going to be authentically respect yourself, self-esteem, self-respect, self-love, because you took the high road. And so it's always been personal development for me. And I really encourage everyone to find what it is for you. What is your one true obsession that you're willing to dedicate your life to and help other people with?
Yeah, you're so insightful, Alan. This has been a powerful ride. For listeners who want to tune into Next Level University or dive deeper into your work, where do they need to go?
If you are out there and you want to reach your own unique potential, you're going to love Kev, you're going to love me, Next Level University. There's nextleveluniverse.com is the website, nextleveluniverse.com, spelled just like it sounds. Next Level University, spelled just like it sounds, is the podcast. We're on YouTube, all podcast platforms. We do an episode every day. We just crossed 2,094 as of today. 2,094. We do an episode every day in your pocket. 1% improvement in your pocket every day from anywhere on the planet, completely free. Next Level University, healthier, wealthier, and more in love. That is the goal. And if you have high humility, high work ethic, and want to reach your potential, you're going to love us. If you want big rewards for minimal effort, please do not reach out under any circumstances. We're going to be nothing but a pain in your butt.
I love it. We'll have those links in the show notes. Alan, thank you again for showing us what it looks like to track the data, align with purpose, and pursue the fulfillment over flash. You are, without a doubt, pulverizing the patterns. Until next time, stay aware, stay awake, and keep walking your truth.
Thank you for tuning into the Pulverizing the Patterns podcast, where Jed Brotherson takes you on a journey to confront the roots of your discontent and emerge significant. Remember to visit our website at www.pulverizingthepatterns.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Pulverizing the Patterns podcast.